I know that Dr. Oken had asked how many people were caregivers in this room, and I missed that. So could everybody raise their hand as to who caregivers are? You know what? You deserve a round of applause. Okay, so I'm very fortunate to be sharing the stage with these three amazing women and the stories they have to tell. So I want to share a quote with you. It said, "Caregiving often calls us to lean into love we didn't know possible." Isn't that great? And we're going to see that today. So our three caregivers are going to talk about their experience with their spouses who have Parkinson's disease. I'm happy to introduce Lisa Jolliffe, whose spouse is Nate, and everybody knows who Nate is, wherever he is. There he is. And he was diagnosed in 2021. And then Rose Femininio, right here to my left, her spouse is Steve, and he was diagnosed in 2009. Where's Steve at? Somewhere. Oh, there he is, right back there, right? And then Joanne Rassi. Her spouse is Kit, and he was diagnosed in 1986. All right. So we were trying to just cover some information from newly diagnosed to late-stage Parkinson's. And we formulated a couple of questions, and we're just going to kind of go down the line. I do have a slide for our caregivers here. And while they get that going, oh, maybe I can do it here. Thank you. Yes. There's their lovely spouses right there. All right, so I'm going to ask the first question here. What was your initial reaction when you first learned of your loved one's diagnosis, and how did you process it emotionally?
Well, thank you for having me here. And our initial reaction was probably a little bit of shock, and obviously, and then we also had a little bit of kind of relief that we finally understood what was happening. We were misdiagnosed for 2 years, probably 2 years. We initially thought it might have been Parkinson's, but that was ruled out. Everything else was ruled out. We had a couple surgeries. We didn't know, and we kept going to different specialists, and finally someone said, "Oh, you have Parkinson's," and then we were kind of shocked. And then that neurologist didn't have the best bedside manner, and we just kind of were left. And then we got a second opinion with a doctor who confirmed it, and then she was great. If I can give a shout out to Belika. She was great, Dr. Belika, and really explained things to us, made us feel a little understanding what it was and what we could do and the resources that were out there. So that really helped us to feel more comfortable about it and to formulate a plan. So we were younger, and obviously, and then so we kind of had a plan, and we went from there, and here we are.
Thank you. Rose, I am going to ask you the same question, your initial reaction when you first learned of the loved one's diagnosis and how you processed it emotionally.
There. Thanks.
Just had to blow on it.
We first knew that something was going on because Steve was a football coach, and during game films, he noticed he wasn't swinging his arm. He would walk across the field, shake the hand of the other coach.
And we thought maybe, here, Rose, why don't you come and talk in here, because I think there's something wrong with that microphone. Sorry about that. I want you to hear it.
We thought maybe he had a stroke because his mom had had strokes. And then we were also misdiagnosed. and we were told that it was Lou Gehrig's disease, which was very scary. And that really put us into a panic. But our third neurologist told us that it was Parkinson's disease and that people die of old age with Parkinson's disease. And so that was very reassuring and comforting. And so even though we were pretty distressed that Steve was such a young guy, he was only 40-ish, in his 40s, we knew that we were going to have to make some lifestyle changes, and Steve became a student of Parkinson's disease, and so we just kind of, rather than run from the disease, we kind of embraced it and did whatever we could to lean into it.
Thank you. Joanne, I think it should work, hopefully. Just start talking into it.
Hello.
Yep. You want to hold it closer to your mic? There you
Thank you. This is very scary for me, so I'm sorry that. My husband was officially diagnosed in 1986. He was in his 30s. He played violin. He was an avid violinist, and he noticed that his fingers weren't working well. So we went to numerous doctors, and the second doctor had said he had pinched nerve. So with that, we went to physical therapy and so forth for a long time. So it went from one physical therapist to another. Parkinson's was never in our, we didn't know anything about Parkinson's other than Muhammad Ali had Parkinson's. That was about all. We, because he was so young, our internist recommended that we go to the Mayo Clinic, which at that time was a long process before they would accept somebody. You had to send paperwork and so forth. And once all that was done, we did go to the Mayo Clinic, and they confirmed that he had Parkinson's. So when we came back to Detroit, we saw a neurologist. And in a very cold conversation, 15-minute conversation, he said, "You have Parkinson's, I'll see you in a year." That was it. We had no idea. So we left, we prayed, and we went to the health food store because we thought, well, let's add a few more things. Might go away. We had no idea what it was. And so when we realized that this was something that no one wants to hear, like I said, we did a lot of praying and asking for direction. And here we are. With the process, we are very shocked, kind of sad, a little bit depressed, like, wow, we have 3 young children, what's life gonna be like? And then we just set it down, and we kind of worked together because it wasn't so noticeable then, we just worked it out and managed it. And that was it.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you. Okay, our next question for the panelists is, how do you balance caring for your loved one while maintaining your own physical and mental health?
I don't consider myself too much of a caregiver yet. I'm humbled by all of you caregivers out there, and I am learning from all of you. So I still continue to work, and I think that is helping, as my husband is unable to continue to his old job. And so I think working helps me. I still, get together with my friends. And then I really try to make sure, because I am talking to other caregivers, I really try to make sure I do something for myself. it's also a big life change for us because our children are just starting to leave the house, getting married, graduating from high school, so that's the big change. And then all of a sudden, your husband's home. We didn't expect early retirement, so we're getting in the new mindset of, okay, now what are we gonna do? So I am trying to make sure I'm also doing something for myself, and then helping him. And now, okay, I guess my new journey is going to be Parkinson's. And so I'm coming here so I can learn, and reading books so that I can now learn and enrich myself and enrich our new life.
Rose? And you know, I will say I so appreciate the applause, but maybe we'll hold the applause until the end. So, because we don't want lunch late.
So Steve is pretty independent still, but he did go on disability and retired about 10 years ago. And I was fortunate enough to be a stay-at-home mom, so I didn't have anything to retire from, although I did have a kind of a regular schedule of commitments and little part-time things that I did. And I maintain that to this day, because we found it's really important for us to have separate interests. And I still make a point of going out with my girlfriends when I can, and I try different exercise classes, and we both exercise regularly. Exercise is medicine, and we really believe that. And so I think that was one of the biggest parts, was to be supportive, but not to be controlling and too much in his business.
Excellent. Joanne?
Let's see.
Regarding balancing caring for yourself and your loved one.
Okay, thank you. So, my gosh, my husband Kit has had it for so long, I have to think back, you know. In the beginning, which was manageable, and we did everything like everybody else did. It was just a little bit more slow going, camping and, you know, with the kids and gardening and all of that, which was fine. So about 10 years in, found out that he had dementia also. So that process, that was an addition to the Parkinson's. So, you know, the only thing, I mean, I do go out and have lunch with my coworkers, and I pray a lot. I mean, honestly, it just helps me through everything. I take my husband on vacations. He loves to see the ocean. He loves to see boats. So, is it easy? No, it is not easy to have to adjust everything and look for things that are going to be easier for him. But you know what? We love them, and so we'll do anything for them so that the both of us can enjoy it. So right now, I like to volunteer every now and then to my special ed students that I used to work with, and we have a caregiver now that comes in once a week for a few hours so that I can go ahead and do that. I rely on family. My family is everything, and they're the ones that will come on vacation with us and help me and make me smile, make me laugh, make my husband laugh. So these are the things that, those are the little things that we do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, our next question. What are some of the most helpful tools or resources that you've discovered for managing this disease and the role of a caregiver?
The number one, I think one of the things we did early on, took a little convincing for my husband, was to join a support group. And I do have to give a shout out to my awesome support group leader, Brad, who is here. And that, I think that is just the, we can't say that enough, to get with the other people. And then they bring in experts that teach you all different things, and a lot of it I might not need to know now, but I will need to know later. So it is awesome. That's been a great resource. And then we are now very involved in the veterans community because of the Camp Lejeune, which is why my husband has Parkinson's. So now he's gotten very involved in the veteran community, and he started his own support group for veterans with Parkinson's. So we're trying to really be advocates and trying to really learn as much as we can. I think we're also trying to maybe get involved in more higher level research and stuff, and anything that we can do, I find that as a great resource. Just head on, we didn't know, we're learning, and now I'd like to teach. So tell other people about it. I think Nate's probably does a better job than I do, but of trying to teach and fundraise. We're helping to fundraise as much as we can, and getting involved in this new community.
Thank you. Rose? Oh, sure will. After I find my place here. Oh, what are some of the most helpful tools or resources that you've discovered for managing this disease and the role as caregiver?
Well, I have to say yes, the support groups were the first resource and still the most important resource. And now Steve is the moderator or facilitator of a support group in the Downriver area, and I'm his Gal Friday. So that number one, you learn so much, and you learn about other resources. The Davis Finney Foundation has been very helpful also. There's a dietitian, a female dietitian. What's her name, guys? Out in Washington State?
Oh,
Laura Mishley.
Dr. Laura Mishley.
She has been very helpful, her information and her website. So those are 3 resources. And I want to step back to the prior question to say that now that we're in mid-stage, we do have to be pretty flexible. And the things that Steve used to do completely independently, like cooking, I'm a little bit more involved in those things. And like Joanne said, it's not a problem because we love each other, and I'm happy to do it. But sometimes it can be frustrating, and sometimes, before you don't realize that there's a need and there's friction, and it takes a little stepping back and prayer to recognize what the problem is and then come up with a solution. So don't beat yourself up if you get impatient or frustrated. And that is where the support group comes in so handy, because other people will have the same problem. And if you're courageous enough to be the first one to mention it, I guarantee other people are going to go, oh, us too. So yeah.
Thank you. And Joanne?
For myself, we had gone through the young onset group, and then we kind of had to leave there because my husband had it so long, so we weren't the young anymore. So, so now we are in our new support group, which is wonderful. Communication is really so important. I like to, my husband can hear me and he processes slowly, but I like to communicate with him. I like to let him know what's going on. So we communicate a lot. I read a lot of articles to him, keeping up on the brain and what's going on in life. If you've never heard of Brain and Life magazine, that is a free magazine. It is so wonderful. And my husband waits for it to come in the mail. It's a wonderful magazine. Let's see. As Rose said, I walk away. We have routines. Routines are very important for us at this stage. And I know every morning when I wake up my husband, and it's, it's always a beautiful, hey, wake up, good morning, to give him his medication. That is the most frustrating time of the day for me. It just is. And I get frustrated, but then I have to stop, just walk away for a second, just walk, take a few steps, and just let it go, turn around and come back and welcome him into the morning, because he needs his medication, and it's just, it's hard for him. And as you get to the end stage, we're so used to just popping our pills and doing everything quickly, and it is very slow for him. And so we have to be very patient. It's just patience, communication, learn, support groups. We had no one to direct us at that time to support groups, so we were on our own. And we just had to learn on our own, what works for us. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question. What do you wish you would have been told before that you know now?
It's still kind of new. I suppose we didn't know anything about Parkinson's. It wasn't in either of our families, so that everyone's different. I think I had an idea of what it was, and I clearly didn't know, but didn't know everyone's Parkinson's is so different. Because people obviously come up to you and say, well, he doesn't look like he has Parkinson's, so we get that a lot, and then you've got to educate yourself. Well, it's different in everyone, and there's so many symptoms that you can see and you can't see. So we're learning all about that, and then also trying to educate everyone else that asks us the same questions. So, just stuff like that. We didn't know. And how fast it's growing, and because it's kind of new in our families, but as we're getting involved and getting all of our friends to understand it, then oh my gosh, I had a grandma or mother that had it. So it's still kind of interesting. I'm still learning. We're still obviously learning about it, but it is interesting.
Thank you. Rose, what do you wish you would have been told that you weren't, or what you know?
One of the toughest lessons to learn was that everything that happens medically is not necessarily Parkinson's disease. And we learned the hard way because Steve had deep brain stimulation, and one of the reasons that he had it was that he was having very severe back pain, and it was going down his leg, and it was affecting the way he walked. And although the DBS seemed to do pretty well on his symptoms, that pain never went away. And our neurologist didn't ever suggest that it could be something to do with his spine. So after a year or two, he had a second DBS. And that one didn't turn out as well, and it affected his speech and a few other things. And then we found out that his spine pain, his leg pain, was actually because of pinched nerves in his spine, and he had a laminectomy, and that took care of the problem. So lesson learned, don't be afraid to get second or third opinions, and don't be afraid to change neurologists if you're not clicking with yours. Steve's had a number of neurologists over the years, and most of them have been great. Sometimes we have to change just because of insurance or difficulties navigating the labyrinth of how to get a prescription refilled at these huge hospital systems. But that's my biggest bit of advice is don't assume that it's Parkinson's, and keep searching for a solution. Don't suffer with it.
I actually wrote down just a few things for me. I wish I would have known about different neurologists. Nobody told us that there's a movement disorder neurologist, the difference. So we were seeing a neurologist until, thank God, ran across Dr. LeWitt. And it was a game changer. Just able to talk to us and so that we can understand. So the movement disorder doctor is key. I didn't realize that Parkinson's was different for everyone, from everyone. We have friends that were diagnosed and have progressed quickly. And it's sad, but everybody has their own story. I mean, and we're here as caregivers to support your story. And I didn't know that being a caregiver is really hard. Not easy. It's really hard. After 39 years, I've been married 50 years, it's just every day is a new day. And you don't want it to be hard, but it is, and you just go with it and just be happy. I mean, I get frustrated, but most of the time I take it with a grain of salt and I just move on. And every day can look different, like I said. You know, within an hour, he might not be able to talk, and then all of a sudden he can talk, and then next minute he forgets how to walk, and you're like, oh, okay, hold on, don't go anywhere, let me get some help. And so that's how it is. Every decade is widely different. And you have to get comfortable with that change. Don't fight it. Just be comfortable with it and work it out for you. You can talk to people that have Parkinson's. I love talking to people with Parkinson's. Not that I just have a lot of compassion for people because we've been through it and it was hard. We had to figure it out ourselves. But we've learned, and so we could take what we learned and just kind of pass it on to people. You know, like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And I go, well, I didn't know it either, but it worked for us, so it might work for you. And that's about.
Thank you, Joan.
Yeah.
All right. The role of caregiver is stressful and often burdensome for some. But can you share any positives or any unexpected benefits that you have found along your journey?
I'm finding a lot of positives, as what the ladies have said. It's not the road that we expected. This is not how we expected our later life to be, but it is what it is, and we accept it, and I feel like I'm embracing it, learning from it. We have found, my husband's gotten involved with, we like the Michigan Parkinson's Foundations. Like I said, we're doing fundraising with the walk, and then we're making it a big family affair, and family from all over the country comes together every year. We go to the walk, we make it a fun family event. We have friends from high school that come. We try to make it something special, really kind of just getting people together. We're like I said, we're trying to advocate for other people that have a more difficult road than we do now, so that we can kind of help them, help maybe future veterans that have issues trying to navigate the whole system. That's difficult, and Nate's trying to do that with the Veteran Support Group. That's a great positive that we find. We're trying to help impact their lives, and try to make this journey a little easier for them, and then trying to get the word out about exercise, and he exercises every year, so we've met a lot of new friends, a lot of different people in this community, which it has been wonderful. So it's it's new, it's different, we're learning. It's like, okay, this is our journey now, and we've accepted it and try to move ahead and see if we can make a difference somehow.
I agree. The best thing is probably all the new friends that we've made over the years, and they are really the people that we prefer to hang out with now because they understand. They understand that loud bars and restaurants, that's not so great for us. You know, we can't talk, and they understand if Steve goes off for a little while, he's going to come back on as soon as the medicine kicks in again. So all the friends that we've made, that's one of the greatest blessings. Also, with disability came the freedom to travel. And so we've done plenty of that. And at one point, our son was working in Australia, and we got to go there for a month. And we've gone to just many wonderful trips over the years since he's retired and been on disability. We've actually, I would say, have grown more in love because we really have to take the time to listen to each other, to connect, to forgive. We have a lot of humor in our home, and I think that's really been a big blessing as well. And I would say that we feel the presence of God more in our lives, more than ever. And that's a treasure that, you know, sometimes you have to have the tough times to understand how God's carrying you.
I'm sorry, I have to read some of my things. I just can't remember everything. The positive, one of the positives is that I love the man that I married 50 years ago. And so it makes it easier for me to get through the day. It has brought me closer to my faith. And as I mentioned before, working with children with special challenges, learning challenges, has taught me a lot of empathy and patience. And that helps me daily. And I also, the positive is being an advocate. I feel one of the things that I would really like to talk about maybe another time, but being an advocate for people that have to go to the hospital. So many of us have loved ones that people, the medical profession just don't treat us. They don't know how to treat somebody with Parkinson's. And it has taken me 30 years to figure out that system and where I put my foot down. At least 30 years. I will not allow some of these facilities, these hospitals, to give them certain medications. I mean, there's just all kinds of things that I've learned. But being an advocate for people with Parkinson's and dementia, not being afraid to talk to somebody, just show love, because we're all in it together. We all understand what everybody's going through in a different way for everybody, but I just love to support whoever needs the support. And so it's not so burdensome for me anymore. It was having to learn everything on my own that was burdensome. And now that I'm the full caregiver for my husband, have been for years, it's quite all right, and I'm still learning things when I come here. One of the biggest things is this our Parkinson's group, all these people that volunteer, Julia, all of this are the president of the Michigan Parkinson's Foundation. We did not have that strength that we do now. It's so wonderful to learn with everybody, all of us together learning. So I'm totally blessed that the Michigan Parkinson's is here for us. Anytime I need to question, I can pick up the phone and call send a text, send an email, and they respond. And I'm thankful for that, Julia, and everybody else that works with Parkinson's. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to go back and touch on a couple of comments that were made. One of which was, you know, I'd never heard of a movement disorder specialist. In fact, when I did hear of a movement disorder specialist, I thought we were talking about poop. Oh, we are. But a movement disorder specialist is typically a neurologist that does another 1 to 2 years of formal education and a fellowship specifically to Parkinson's and movement disorders. And I just want to say that there are many neurologists out there that can treat Parkinson's disease. And they're good, they certainly can. But I often like to say, if you had cancer, you wouldn't see your primary care doctor, right? You'd go see an oncologist. So we often recommend a movement disorder specialist to be part of your care team, even if you include your general neurologist so they can collaborate together. And if anybody is interested, we do have a list of our movement disorder specialists at the Michigan Parkinson's Foundation. And I'm also very proud to say that throughout the state, we have about 26 movement disorder specialists that sit on our professional advisory board that guide us on all the education that we send forward. The other thing I wanted to mention was, which is such a common theme, and that is, when I got diagnosed, it went like this. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Okay, I think you have Parkinson's. There's this medication I can give you, and you can go home, you can take it, and if you respond, you probably have Parkinson's disease. And I'll see you back in about 6 months to a year. Anyone? It's unfortunate. And recognizing that this is a problem, we spearheaded a program called PD 101. This is very personal to me. And hearing people over and over again that they didn't have the information. When I worked even in a high academic center, I could see people walking out into the waiting room and see the look on their face after they got diagnosed. And unfortunately, our healthcare system doesn't allow our providers to spend more than 20 minutes with you, and 20 minutes is usually a lot. So our PD 101 meets the first Wednesday of every month at our office in Bingham Farms. You do need to RSVP to be able to attend. We also offer it in northern Michigan. Tori Davenport, who is not here, another excellent member of our team. And we are looking to expand it throughout the state. I spend 2 hours with newly diagnosed people to go over as much information as possible. And like you said, Lisa, it might not apply yet, but you need to hear about it. And there's no book, there's no textbook, nobody's got the same Parkinson's. There are a lot of resources, and a lot of resources in this room as well. So I urge you, if you do have any questions, or if you have not attended the PD 101, come see me. If you aren't sick of me yet, you'll spend 2 hours with me. Okay, and then I also wanted to mention the walk. Our walks. Our walks are so fantastic. I'm going to talk about the Metro Detroit one first. Rose, Joanne, Lisa, I know you guys have been so involved in creating your walk teams. And it's such a great community. And I will tell you that particularly Rose and Lisa, these two teams are a force to be reckoned with. And
Who's in first place right now?
okay. I didn't know Nate was on the stage. All right, so am I in second place? All right, I held first place for a long time. Okay, anyways, it's friendly competition. But I also think it's a great opportunity for you to invite your family and friends to come out for that day. I can assure you that many people in your family and many of your friends don't know what to say. They're uneducated. They're scared. They don't want to offend you. And maybe it's difficult to have that conversation. Participating in the walk and seeing this great community of people and also more resources that are available, it's wonderful. So I encourage you to sign up for our walk. I'm so happy. Last year, we had over 1,000 people show up on a beautiful day in the fall at Jimmy John's Stadium, where it will be held again on September 13th, right? Okay, September 13th. All right. So with that, I don't know if anybody has any final thoughts that they would like to discuss or bring up, but I can't thank you enough. I mean, these three women have been so involved with the Michigan Parkinson's Foundation. When the Michigan Parkinson's Foundation was first organized, the main goal was support groups. And I am so proud to say that we have over 76 support groups throughout the 83 counties in Michigan, both in person and virtual, as well as a caregiver support group. And that's the first step, I think. And I think you bring up a good point. Many newly diagnosed people don't want to go to a support group, and I'll tell you why. I'll just be honest. They don't want to see what they fear they're going to turn into. But because Parkinson's is such a customized boutique disease, you can't say that's going to happen or that isn't going to happen. I mean, Kit, amazing. 1986 he was diagnosed. And I can share with my father, who had the disease for over 43 years. It didn't define them, you know? And so I hope you'll take that opportunity. The last thing I wanted to say is, are there any veterans out here in the crowd? If you would stand, if you could, because you deserve a round of applause. We thank you for your service. And Nate is our veteran support group leader. So if you haven't connected with him yet, you should. And anybody has any final thoughts? I can't believe it. We're actually going to get lunch on time. How about that? The last thing I would mention is that, again, I have to thank our sponsors. Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to see the support, and we could not put programs on like this without the sponsors' support. So we appreciate you, we thank you, and please get your passports signed and put them in the bucket here on the stage. Yes?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. If anybody ever has any questions or just needs to talk to somebody that has supported someone with Parkinson's for so long, please don't hesitate to come talk to me. I can't help, I can listen, and who knows, there might be something that we can share. So.
Thank you, and that actually spurs another thing, that we have a mentorship program at the Michigan Parkinson's Foundation, and we have many mentors and caregivers. So if you don't get a chance to connect today, you can check out our website and go under the mentorship tab and learn all about our fantastic mentors. And if anybody is interested in being a mentor, come see us at our table over here. All right. Thank you, ladies. Fantastic.